Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Data Dispatch. I hope you guys are all having a wonderful day, had a good weekend. Let's talk about what we're seeing in the market. Kick-starting off the week, we see Palantir doing very well, setting a new all-time high due to a new announcement of an Ask Me Anything session, a little AMA, from Alex Karp that's going to be coming in just a few short days. We're going to be talking about the details. A very, very interesting take from a big CEO, but I do like the transparency that's behind it. There's going to be a lot of eyeballs on there. So we'll be talking about that and how even you can submit questions. On top of that, we also see some of the other stocks that we've been talking about, Tempus, BigBear, gaining a lot of traction in terms of market capitalization, a lot of volatility. And right now we see the broader market that actually finishes in the green today on top of the uncertainty with the tariff scare. So we hit 23,000 subscribers. I can't thank you guys enough. Let's hit the road to 24. Hit that sub button, the like button. Of course, not a financial advisor, collecting all the data and dispatching it to you. Now, if you pop it up on the screen here, Palantir Technologies currently in the overnight hours on Robinhood, trading at $117 per share. That is crazy to say. It's still unbelievable for me to say that. Closing here at market close at $116.65. Right now at a market cap of $265 billion. And I even saw a statistic that now Palantir Technologies has a larger market cap than Wells Fargo. That can tell you anything. Volume right now is at 99 million. There's a lot of buying pressure behind here. A decent amount of activity at the options. You can see here a good amount of calls, good amount of puts too. A lot of people expecting a little bit of a pullback for Palantir. But let's talk about what the official post is saying here. It's actually happening. Alex Karp coming on here with a little AMA session on Wednesday this week, February 12th, that's just 2 short days from now, at 12 p.m. Eastern Time, saying you can submit your questions by replying to the post on X, and this AMA session is going to be streaming exclusively on X. There's going to be a lot of eyeballs. We'll definitely be gathering all the data and reporting it come Wednesday night. So this, I think, is awesome for Palantir to come out with sessions like this. That's my initial reaction, especially since Palantir has surged over 424% over the past year. This AMA session is highly anticipated by a lot of investors as analysts are really looking into what's the company working on for future plans, current operations, and the transparency and being able to provide, a platform and this kind of Q&A session by Dr. Karp, I think is a very, very good thing. And for addressing questions directly to the community and offering clarity on any type of concerns out there, looking at operational performance. This is typically an unconventional form for a CEO of a major corporation. I would agree. You don't see a lot of CEOs of major companies. Palantir is like the 38th biggest one, I believe, right now on Earth. In terms of market cap, you don't see a lot of CEOs just coming out with an AMA session on X, just saying, hey, hit me with what you got. So that is awesome. This shows you how Palantir is different in terms of their leaders, their big insiders. This shows you how they are different and really how they are separating themselves from a lot of the other big corporate companies out there. And I would agree that this does reflect their commitment to transparency and direct engagement with its stakeholders. So what do you guys make of that? Go on there. You can ask some questions. Right now, Palantir is still continuing to lead the race in the AI, I would say, horse race. Palantir is the S&P 500's top stock this year, and it's going to probably keep continuing climbing. There's a lot of bullishness behind Palantir, and right now we are looking into this price discovery zone. In terms of price action here, my short-term predictions, we could see a pullback at any time. Yes, the risk for downside potential is high, but right now, I don't think this is a lot of retail money coming in. I think this is more institutional, big hedge funds coming in with big share purchases, pushing this stock up higher. There is a lot of momentum to keep pushing Palantir high. We can see it day after day, up 5% on the day. So I think there's a lot of institutional investment coming in here on Palantir. The warning there, though, as we know, valuation's always been a concern. That, of course, is completely disconnected, but that risk for downside potential still will be there. It's still sitting there. So keep that in the back of the mind in case a lot of people are trying to put a lot of eggs in one basket, especially at these all-time highs. Now, looking at the market today, Wall Street takes Trump's latest tariff threats in stride in the indexes rise across the board. Looking at the broader indexes here, you can see S&P 500 up about 0.7%, NASDAQ up about a full percent. What we saw was a losing week last week. And in terms of what we've seen with the change in the administration, there's been a lot of uncertainty, of course, with the potential tariffs that could push up inflation and threaten the economy. That's kind of one of the main worries from Wall Street is how is inflation going to be, or how is the tariffs going to be affecting inflation? And the reason why I think that is a big uncertainty is because the Fed's been doing a lot of work to try to reduce inflation and get it to its target zone. And the Fed wants to hopefully keep continuing to cut rates. And that's what Wall Street also wants, but it has to make sense, right? We can't have the economy and inflationary numbers that continue to rise and also have rate cuts on top of that. That's why we've seen rate cuts, like in the last meeting, that have been stable. And now the question is, how many rate cuts are there going to be in 2025? Later this week, we're going to be getting some remarks from the Fed chair that could kind of hint at some signals on what their reaction are to tariffs. And we're just going to see that with their decisions and what they do in terms of the actual Fed FOMC meetings and what their perspective is on tariffs on the economy. The bond market is also staying relatively firm here. Treasury yields making modest moves. And one of the big reasons and the uncertainty is not the tariffs that we saw with Canada and Mexico and talking about China, is over the weekend that he announced that there's going to be 25% tariffs on all steel and aluminum imports, as well as other import duties later in the week. So that's where he's seeing the fear of these tariffs, kind of what else is going to be happening. We see gold kind of rising pricing just because we're seeing some uncertainty around the dollar a little bit. So we'll see what happens. A lot of this doesn't really, of course we need to pay attention to it, but it's not something that gets me crazy emotional or anxious or anything like that, because a lot of this is just, I think, a lot of political battle. We'll see what happens with these tariffs. I think the word's going to be brought up many times, and I think it eventually will not impose as strong as reactions in terms of the market once we see more data on what the tariffs are going to actually do. Not saying that, hey, we should completely ignore them, because things could go down into, more of a bearish perspective if inflation all of a sudden does come back at a very fast pace due to the tariffs. But we don't know. We don't know what's going to be happening, so we'll see what happens. Some of the other big stocks that we've been talking about, BigBear, gaining a lot of attention. Remember when we talked about BigBear probably a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago now, that was at like $3 to $4? Well, guess what? Now it's at $8.72. We were talking about and called BigBear at a very early price, up about 100% since then. It's been very highly volatile in Monday's trading session. This is because we saw the new contract wins, and also we're seeing gaining in conjunction here with the AI Summit that's hosted in Paris. So a lot of bullish momentum coming from BigBear with the new contract wins that we've also seen, and we also saw with the change and the person running the actual company, the CEO right here, Kevin McAllion, replacing. So having great experience. So what you see there, BigBear doing very well. Another one that we've been talking about is Tempus. Remember we talked about Tempus at about $35-$40. Now it's at 68, also doing very well across the board. Market cap now at 10 billion. BigBear's market cap, just in terms of a correlation and a comparison, is at 2.19 billion. So compare that to Palantir for people talking about new AI stocks at lower market caps. Palantir is at 265. So looking at some of these other stocks right here, Tempus is doing very well. What we are seeing is actually a decent amount of executives that are selling across the board between February 4th and 7th. We saw executives sell about $20 million worth of stock, and that just could because of a lot of hype and trendiness that is coming in. The stock's already up over 100% year to date. We all know why. I mean, we know Pelosi came in announcing her option calls on the smaller market cap company here compared to her other announcements. So a lot of people were getting in on that, just trading off of what Pelosi's doing. And Tempus AI is expected to report their earnings on Monday. So we'll be keeping you guys up to date on what will be happening there. But in terms of analysts, they are suggesting kind of an average price target of $60, which is down about 11% from where it sits now. So other than that, what do you guys make of everything? Palantir hitting these all-time highs, the AMA session, Big Bear, Tempest, the whole broader market. I'll see you guys down in the comments. Peace out. Take care.